the sound pulls await you silent all around. Blind, if they get the chance, they were born in bloody circumstance. To go, leave me, run like you've never run before. A voice from the underground, given room to breathe, not but be drowned. So die if you get the chance. Better men than you've been, let this dance. To go, leave me, run like you've never run before. I have seen the worst, and there is nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down, my brothers, on the ground. I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me away. To go, leave me, run like you never did. No, believe me, run like you've never run before.
Hello, and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast in association with the Scottish Rugby Blog. Blog? What's a blog? Anyway, I'm joined tonight by the inestimable Leslie Ramage. Hello, Leslie, how are you?
Hello, Allan. Yes, I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm absolutely boiling. I'm upstairs in the study, and it is cooking up here, even with the window open. And also by the incomparable Mark Riley. Mark, how's yourself?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Hello to both of you. I'm in a very similar position to you, Allan. If I turned my desk around, my rear view would be very similar to yours, with the small window at the back of an old house with eaves closed in and all that sort of thing. And it's well insulated, I think, is probably the best possible description.
Which is great in winter. Winter. And in
Yes.
summer, it can do one. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
So welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Our podcast is part of the Sports Social Network. Please give us a like or follow on your podcast app. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit like and hit the subscribe button. You can also find us on social media, but I have to say our posting on that hasn't been that much, but we are findable there. All the links are on the website, scottishrugbyblog.co.uk. And see if you're listening on Apple, please leave us a wee review. It's been ages since we've had one, so go and say something nice. And if you'd like more content and want to support what we do, you can subscribe to our Patreon for just £3 a month plus VAT. It gives you access to our super secret Facebook group, Tonight has been brought to you by Malapropisms, I'm sorry. And the second section of the pod where we get a little looser with the chat, except it won't tonight because our last two pods for the last two games have been Patreon only, and this pod is going out free to air tonight. I was going to say I wasn't going to say the time of day, and I've gone and done it.
It's been a very long season. To be fair to you, it's been a very long season for all of us.
I just put it in my head as well by saying I wasn't good to do it. It's my own fault. I only have myself to blame. So, we're talking about Fiji 17, Scotland 33. And yeah, never in doubt, was it? It was quite a good game. I enjoyed it. Yeah, we have a group chat which we've spoken about a few times, and there was lots of negative comments in the group chat and things. But we'll start off with a wee bit of news before we go on. That's just a wee teaser for you there. Start off with a wee bit of news before we go on. And the under-20s came to... the under-20s came fifth in the world, beating Wales. Now, it wasn't a game I got a chance to watch, so I'm going to throw to my my co-hosts for this one. Leslie, how did they do?
They did very well. So, for a bit of context, for folk who aren't Patreon subscribers, we spoke a little bit about Scotland under 20s last week, and they have been in the trophy, so the tier below the World Championship, and playing with the likes of your Chiles, your Uruguays, not playing with the big boys. So this is their first time back up, and I think our expectations hadn't been particularly high given how things had been going, but I think they've beaten all expectations, and they came fifth, beating Wales. Now, again, a bit more context: Wales beat Scotland in the Six Nations under-20s just at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. So to get a win was really very good. They played really well the whole tournament. Some real good young players in there. Yeah, really just it's a bit nice, some nice positive Scottish rugby news for a change. Yeah, it was good.
I think particularly the under-20s doing well is not something that, in all fairness, it's not something we've seen that often, and it's always been a slight concern about our pathways. But this team really seemed to be gelling together. I think what we have as well in the playing base is we have both ends of the under-20 scale. So we've got some guys, this will be the last time they play for the under-20s in key positions, the likes of Ollie Blythe-Lafferty, potentially Jerry, his brother as well, and a couple of others. And then you've got at the complete other end of the scale, you've got youngsters like Jake DL at 10, who's only, 17? Has he turned 18 yet?
Yeah,
he's
turned 18. So, no, still 17.
No, still 17. So he potentially has another 4 years or 3 years rather, of under-20s ahead of him. So we've got both ends of that scale in that playing group, and they're playing good rugby. I mentioned it last week, and I know our patrons would have heard it, but it's worth saying again. They're playing what seems to be a Scotland pattern. They're being more aggressive at the breakdown. They're going wide. Both the centres and the wings in the under-20s, I thought, excelled. They all played really, really good attacking rugby, and I will never forgive the referee for was it the Argentina game where the young lad was pulled back for apparently jumping over a tackle.
Yeah.
where it was basically a no arms tackle that he somersaulted over. It was not deliberate in any stretch. He knocked on at the line, but if he hadn't knocked on at the line, it should have been one of the best tries ever scored in the under-20s. It was a fabulous piece of individual skill. So yeah, I think on that basis, it's really encouraging. I mean, good on the lads, and really encouraging for Scotland as a whole.
I think that's the thing. The under-20s have been there's such a narrow age band, and I know this one's slightly broader. And just sorry to correct you, Mark, but obviously it's Jake Dalziel rather than DL. Sorry, we've just been laughing about it, laughing gently at a friend of the pod mispronouncing it when the said friend of the pod on their pod would definitely know Tam DL.
Yes.
So
Tam DL didn't spell his name that way, actually. I looked it up afterwards. He spelled his name Dalyell, which I suspect is an anglicisation of DL as we know it.
Yeah, although it wouldn't, if it's from Gaelic, it wouldn't have a Z because there's no Z in the Gaelic language. But
Right.
This is more evidence.
Yeah, we're going to go down a linguistic rabbit hole, which we all might enjoy, but not so much to people listening for rugby content.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And as I say, it's just proof I'm turning into my dad. But yeah, it's been usually a very tight age range, and we've had good players coming through, but they've been spaced out. We've not had them in a group big enough to influence the under-20s. So this is really positive, and hopefully it'll be sustained. Hopefully it's not just a sort of like statistical blip. Hopefully it's evidence that the pathways are improving, the talent identification's getting better.
Yeah.
So it's nice to start on a positive note.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
It's nice to start on a positive note, and well done to the under-20s. The other bit of news this week, Scotland-related news this week, is that Scotland women are going to have an A team.
Yes.
And there's a part of me thinks, oh, surely we should get Edinburgh and Glasgow performing better in the Celtic Challenge before we look at the A team. But is that a reasonable point of view? Do you two agree?
I don't think both things are mutually exclusive. I think anything we can do to have our younger players playing at the highest possible level and in pressurized situations will help their individual development. So I think it'll help the development of the Scotland national team. But if somebody, for pulling names out of hat, let's say Katie Ainsworth for the sake of argument, right? Katie Ainsworth goes on and plays at 10 in an A game against Wales. For me, that can only improve her game for Glasgow. Yeah, it's Glasgow. Yeah. Ainsworth, yes. I had a 50% chance, to be fair. So putting her in that pressure situation with an international shirt on her back is, I think, can only help improve her game. So yes, I do see what you're saying. It would be great for the club teams, but when we've got this situation where a lot of our senior team internationals are coming back to play for the club teams, if they're understudies or people that haven't quite made the step up to senior rugby are then getting a higher step up for international, my head can't help going, what can go wrong with that?
I think that's fair. Sometimes when you're hosting, you posit something and have it as a jumping off point for discussion.
Yeah.
And I think actually our younger women need more games, and any way they get those games is good. And high quality, high level rugby, high performance environment, all of that can only be good.
Yeah, totally agree.
All of that can only be good.
They're using it, so it won't be a capped game, but they are using it as a capture game for any dual qualified players. So,
interesting.
I think that was an interesting note. I'm not sure if they've maybe identified some talent and they want to get them now. Obviously, there's a World Cup in 3 years' time, so I don't know if this is a get them in, we'll get them captured, their hours, and then we can look to develop them or whatever, rather than having to play them in a WXV game or something like that, where you're throwing them in the deep end.
It's solely been created to deal with a youngster called Flora McPherson, who is coming through the ranks in New Zealand at 10. It'll be something like that. Guys, we've got an idea.
I was going to say,
Well,
Flora McPherson must be SQ on name alone. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good thing all in all. The other thing, and it was occurring to me when you were chatting there, is I've been on a few rugby tours. I don't. I've been in a few going to watch matches, but they were basically weekends of beer goggles in France and Dublin, etc. But I have been away with the team for several days to play rugby. I'm sure you did the same, Allan.
No, I don't think I ever did a tour.
Oh, didn't
I
you?
think ever. Yeah, no, never went away.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, but many of our male players will have done so, with the exception of travelling for an overnighter to play a Celtic match. How many of our young women players will have been in a squad environment for several days? It would be quite cool if the first time they experienced that was not the first time they get called up to the national squad.
Yeah, I
fair
think there's a lot to be said for that.
Going away, strange hotels, rooming with people, etc., etc.
We use Scotland Sevens for that for a fair amount of time, didn't we?
Sure. Yeah. So you could look at any of the. I keep, Katie Ainsworth's name keeps coming back to me, but there are several in that kind of genre, that belt, where you kind of expect them in a year or two to be getting a full cap because they're showing that level of promise. It's not just the rugby that's going to be new to them. So anything we can do to make the rugby being the only thing that's new to them, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think experience of the high performance environment and but also
and the not so high performance environment.
Well, what do you do if your roommate snores? Or
Big time. Yeah.
Although getting a reputation for sleepwalking seems to be a very good way to get a room to yourself on tour. So if you're not too bothered about turning up naked in the coach's room or standing over your roommate's bed, that'd be quite a good way to unethically get a room to yourself. I would just be in with another prop, and they'd be like, "You can both snore together." I think would be the thing. I fell asleep on the couch today, and the dogs don't like. I'm quite snory just because of the position I'm in on the couch. The dogs obviously don't like it. I kept getting woken up with them hitting my hand with their nose, going, "Are you alive? You're making a weird noise. Stop it." Grand. Okay, we have probably put this off long enough. The game. General comments on the game? Any thoughts? Enjoyable experience, Leslie?
I've seen lots of negative comments about it, but I think we need to kind of look at it in the context of where we are in the year. We have a World Cup next year. There's only we had 3 summer games. We've got the autumn games, and we've got Six Nations and maybe a couple of warm-ups. That's pretty much it. So I thought it was a pretty good opportunity for Gregor to have another look at people, look at combinations. See, you cannot play the first team for every single game in the World Cup. You just can't. So
Hmm.
getting another look at people and seeing how they work together on the pitch. Does it work? Does it not? It's probably quite useful. I'm not saying that you want to do it all the time, but it's a useful exercise, I think.
Yeah, and Mark, we couldn't have put the first team out again, could we? After all that travel, after that season?
To be honest, you could almost argue there were too many of them on the bench, frankly, who needed a rest, but they were kind of required at the end of the game anyway. But
Just at the end of the game?
well, no. Fair shout. But no, my immediate reaction to it, having watched most of it back again, was we, as a team, they looked like exactly what they were. A bunch of good players who'd simply never played together. And that's how they looked on reflection as well. I think, Leslie hit the nail on the head. We can't always play our first team. We get to World Cup tournaments, we're going to have to play. We're going to have to mix and match. We're going to have to give people a rest. And this is where, we might come on to it later, but this is where I struggle a wee bit with this current championship. It's not what the summer test used to be. If we were doing the old-fashioned summer tests, for example, where we played, I don't know, we maybe played one large nation, and then we went to
Chile, USA, and Uruguay.
Yeah, exactly. We did that.
Big hitters.
Yeah, I could have expected 50% of our regular starters to be having the summer off. You know, and we don't have a big enough playing pool to do that, to give them the time off when we're playing a full-on tournament. And equally, we don't have a big enough playing pool to not give them the time off because they need a damn rest now. It's a real catch-22 situation, you know.
Mm-hmm. And we were all quite negative about the first half. And I've watched it back. I think unfamiliarity plays a big part in the difficulties in the first half. For example, the maul where we knock it on, get the ball going and it drops out, it gets knocked on. That just looks like unfamiliarity. There's a line out that doesn't quite work. It goes over the top and Fiji gather it. And that all just looks a bit like rustiness. But I think the other thing that we've not spoken about enough is I don't think Fiji were as bad as they were the week before.
Oh, I agree with that completely. I thought Fiji played well. But I think Fiji absolutely had our number in two key facets of the game. The one being maul defence. They absolutely had our maul on toast. And the other being how to break our line. And that's slightly concerning to me. It wasn't the usual, none of their tries were the usual Fiji play sevens until somebody trips over their own shoelaces and then we're in. They were well worked, they were well thought through, and they broke our line far too easily, in my humble opinion.
They were, I suppose, they took full advantage of the new maul laws, I think. So we're still struggling to work out how to defend the new maul laws, and one of their tries came from a maul in the middle of the field that made a huge amount of distance and then pulled enough people in that even with a player, this was when they were a player down for the yellow card, they managed to stretch us wide and then have overlaps wide and then wide again, and that's how they got in. And that, I think, there's an element that we were on the back foot from the start with that one. You're making a face at me that makes you think I'm wrong, Mark.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. Was that their third try?
That was a third try.
See, I looked at that today, and yeah, I know they made progress in exactly the manner you've spoken about, but that was scored coming right through the middle of a ruck where our guards were in the wrong position.
Oh, sorry. Yes, but
in an almost identical position to Ambrose Papier's try last week. Once seems like a mistake, twice seems systemic.
Yeah, and Darcy Ray was caught out for it. You're right. Sorry, I thought that was one that went over in the corner, but it wasn't. That was the one straight into the post. And hopefully that's a fairly easy fix. Don't stand there, stand here.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Darcy Ray. Both the guards were too wide out.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy Ray on one side and Johnny Gray on the other were too far from the ruck, as Xander was the previous week.
I think that's maybe something in the defensive system, as you say, but at least they've got the defensive coach has got time to look at it and do something about it. It's Lee Radford, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's
it is,
not working full time. Oh wait, is he?
Oh, he is.
Oh, he is.
He is now.
Good. That's nice.
He was working till the end of the season, wasn't he, with Northampton Saints? So whenever he finished up with them, he would have joined.
Good.
It's like what
But
it is.
yeah, it's not.
Northampton
covering
Saints
himself in
famous
glory
for their vice-like defence, of course.
I suppose they score more tries than they generally score more tries than they concede. So, Leslie,
Yeah, we've got to give him time. But first impressions, I don't think are great, particularly. But you've got to give him time. See how it goes.
I know you've been looking at the defence, Leslie, and I was looking at it today as well. And it looks to me to set like a very rugby league defence. So they keep a very rigid and evenly spaced line and come forward together, which is great. But it also looked to me like the minute there was a little bit of a breakdown or people in behind, the spacings went to pot and chaos ensued. I think first line defence seemed okay, but then anything after that, the guys looked to be making it up, and that's slightly concerning. But like you say, maybe give them time.
So I actually watched back last year's Fiji game as well, because a lot of the players were kind of similar. I'm not saying it was the exact same team, it wasn't, but you had Jamie Dobie at 9, you had Fergus Burke at 10, you had Gilchrist instead of Johnny Gray, for example, but you know, a lot of them are quite similar, and a lot of the same things that we saw this year were exactly the same things we saw last year. The defence, again, it was all a bit too easy, and it wasn't the same coach then. It would still be Steve Tandy.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put it all on the defence coach, but there does seem to be, especially, I don't know if it's Fiji's size and speed that Scotland can't deal with.
Mm-hmm.
It looked to me like when we were playing South Africa, we kind of often go like 2-man tackle to stop them. We don't seem to do that with Fiji. It seems to be like 1-on-1. And I get why, because they'll offload the ball really quickly and you want to have bodies there, but they're running through you. Don't know if it's still working either. A lot of the same issues, unfortunately. And I think Fiji did quite a good job, especially the first half, of slowing down our ball and making it quite difficult for us to get it away. And it then it looks quite clunky and
yes,
it's a bit slow. And Scotland need fast ball to kind of do what they want to do. And when it's slow and clunky like that, it doesn't work.
I think also Fiji are a completely different proposition with Caleb Muntz at 10. I think he brings a lot of structure, and I think there was an awful lot of he made them a different proposition playing against us and gave us a much harder test as a result. I think there's also, we know that at World Cup time Fiji do well because the coaches get time with the players.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We've got them at the end of the Nations Championship. So the coaches have had time to get with the players, and that's why things like that take time to work on, like maul defence and line defence, were so much better. And, Fiji's line speed was incredible.
Yeah.
I would say it was suspiciously fast at points, to the point where I was like, that's surely offside.
Yeah.
If they're getting away with it, they're getting away with it. We didn't kick a lot, and that felt like game plan.
I think it has to be game plan. I can't remember. I think they asked Mr. Greek pitch side for his views early in the second half, and we had kicked something like, so I can't remember the numbers, and we had also kicked for contestable balls, so we'd kicked for something like 100 meters of distance, and Fiji had kicked something like 3 times as often and for 400 meters of difference. And the modern game's not like that. And Greg made the point, of course he's right, he knows more about rugby than any of us do, that if you're not winning your collisions, which we weren't for a lot of that game, why kick short to compete? Make them play off their line out from inside their 22.
I think there's a worry that if you kick loose to Fiji, of all the teams, they can punish you. And we saw that when there was a kick chase through from Doohan that looked really promising. Then the Fiji boy picked it up, and Doohan did the "I'm going to tackle you" flap and didn't. And then I think that resulted in their second try, didn't it?
I think eventually it did, yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe Doohan missed that tackle, by the way, but yeah, anyway.
Have you been watching Doohan? I love the guy. He has made me so happy. He has done serious damage to my vocal cords as I've screamed him over. But tackling is not his forte.
Strong point, no.
He threw some passes in the game, which I think we need to acknowledge. But yeah, so one player that had a lot of discussion, that there was a lot of chat about, both between us and in various fora online, was the 10 with Fergus Burke. How do you feel he played, Leslie?
I think Fergus played almost exactly how he played last year against Fiji. And now I don't know if that is because that is just how Fergus likes to play, or if that's what he's being asked to do. I don't know. But I think he's a good player, but I don't think he works with George Horn particularly well. It just didn't seem like a combination that was kind of gelling there. He was with Jamie Dobie the last time, and I don't know if that worked either. He's a good player, but I just don't know if he's comfortable playing how Scotland usually play. He looks quite kind of, not nervous is not maybe the right word, but it'll do for now. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks a bit nervous, and he doesn't always seem to kind of know where he should be, and it always looks like he's standing in the wrong place. I don't know if it's just because it's such a difference from Saracens, and if he actually played him more, he would get better at it because he'd get used to it. But watching him, yeah, I'm not sure he is the next cab off the rank behind Finn, personally.
I've put up something from Lapman 460 because it saved me having to say this. I think it's difficult to gauge how Burke is for Scotland because we rely so much on Shione at 12, because he comes in at first receiver a huge amount of time with Finn coming out the back and balls being offloaded to him. So and he has looked good. He looked an awful lot better when Shione came on. And I think one of the things we've learned from this game is that Stafford is not a 12 for Scotland, Mark.
Oh, I absolutely think that Stafford is not a 12 for Scotland. I don't even think Stafford's a 12 for Glasgow, frankly. And I like Stafford as a player. but he's not a 12 playing the style that either Scotland or Glasgow play. And Burke, I know what you're saying about Argentina, and it happened quite similarly when Sione came on. Part of the reason I went to watch it back and didn't actually watch the whole thing when Sione came on, and I will do, is that I felt at the time watching it that they simply stopped playing through 10. So it's not like, oh, Sione gives him support cover or anything like that. They just ignored him. They took him out of the game and basically played through 9, or either Dobie or Horn, or straight to Sione at the back.
Even with
that's not the way you need your 10 to be, right? A decoy.
Well, look, quite often with Finn playing Shoney's first receiver, quite often, so we're not, so, and I think that's the thing, like Shoney is such a good 12 because he is a quadruple threat, because he can run round you, he can run through you, he can kick it, he can put a kick in behind, and he's got a pass on him, and he's got a distribution game from offloads. He is the complete package as a 12. And Stafford can offload a bit, and Stafford's got a good big boot on him, but not the same kicking, not the same attacking kicking threat. And he's very good at running through people, and he can occasionally run round people, but he's not really a distributor. And that's the difficulty. So I think Shoney gives us the opportunity to have the 10 playing further back, and almost the 10 sitting in the pocket, almost being screened by Shoney, and then you can play out the back.
Yeah, but there's a difference in sitting and watching and being the playmaker, judging when it's on to come through 10 and making that call and making that play, whether it's a crossfield or a quick dart or a miss 2 or whatever that Finn does, or simply being taken out of the game because you're not offering that much threat.
He doesn't have the same creativity as Finn, and if you're relying on him to do that, that's asking a lot of somebody who doesn't seem to be his natural skill set.
No, absolutely.
To play like Finn, and that's fine. Not everybody's Finn.
It was like I'm pretty sure only Finn is Finn.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. But I guess that's the challenge. I also feel it might be game time, or it might be, I go back to the old adage of you have no time to think at international. I felt he threw a couple of absolutely bobbins passes. Suddenly realised we're not going out to Patreon tonight. He threw a couple of bobbins passes under pressure that he should have retained, and cost us territory, cost us possession, all that kind of thing. And to me, that's a challenge about his speed of thought.
There was, I think, his experience at that level. I think it's going to take time, and 10's a hell of a position, and he's not getting the support that our best players get, because when he plays, it's generally when Shoney's been rested, for good reason. So I think, I don't know. I think it's a wee bit harsh to write anyone off after their fifth cap.
Yeah, he might be better with, if it's not going to be Sione, a bit more of a playmaking 12.
I wonder, in retrospect, if we'd gone with TJ at 12 and Stafford at 13 and put Ollie Smith to fullback, that might have been
a bit better.
Well, I think during the game at halftime, we were, our chat group was quite alive, and I was all for hooking Burke, TJ at 10, Sione to 12, Staff to 13, and Smith to 15. So very little movement would have started almost that back line.
Yeah, and I would say, because I was up watching it, I was in Sky watching it because it was my dad's 80th, and that was largely the thoughts from my dad and my uncles watching it. But I think there's a reason for not taking, because if you take Burke off, do you Prendergast his confidence by doing that? You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've decided that's the verb, Prendergasting.
Yeah. And I think it's a really
worthwhile.
valid question. Sorry, Leslie, Karen.
I was going to say it's worthwhile playing him with other people other than Sione just to see what works and what doesn't. And as long as he's aware that that's what's happening, then that's fine. And hopefully that doesn't knock his confidence that we're doing a bit of testing, we're just seeing what works. You know, this might not be a final combination type thing, but at least Gregor now knows that probably him and Stafford are not a 10-12 combo that you would want to see again. But you know, next time he might want to try somebody else. I think it was Cam Redpath. I think was the 12 last year.
I think it was either Cam Redpath or TJ. I can't remember.
It might have been one was on and one was on the bench, maybe.
Yeah, that's.
But yes.
And actually, our playmaking 12s that aren't Sione are TJ, Cam Redpath, Hutchinson probably, because he's played 12 and he's played 10 at points. Not very long, but so that there are options outside potentially, but none provide the sort of safe out ball into traffic that that Sione does. But yeah, Sione's getting on for kind of man-on in his skill set, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
Any other things we learned? Any other things we learned?
I'm not sure the starting forwards would be the starting forwards.
No.
Sorry, front row, I should say, to be specific, especially the props. I thought Gregor Hiddleston was fine.
I thought Hiddleston was pretty good.
Yeah.
He carried well.
I'm going to give Darcy Ray a bit of a pass because he has not played because he was injured, so he's not played. So he's allowed to have a little bit of rust, but the scrum, especially the first half, was not great. I didn't think.
I think one of the sad things is how much Rory Sutherland's gone off the boil and is persistently refusing to be, or not being able to be reheated. You know, the player that was undoubtedly deserved to go in the Lions tour just seems a distant memory.
Yeah,
he's not been the same since he came back the first time.
I wonder if it was that, or I wonder if it was Worcester Warriors. You know, making a big move, moving down, and then suddenly having to be and not knowing where you were playing, what you were doing. That's spending a lot of time away from your family because he's got a young family. That can't be good. And particularly when he had that horrible injury, you know, before that, just as he was first coming through.
And being a borderer, his mindset is a day out of hockey is a day wasted anyway. So
yeah.
Do we need to look for another in that position?
I think we should be anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Rory must be what, 30, early 30s, I would imagine.
I would think so, yeah.
I think he's 32, 33 would be my guess.
Right.
So this World Cup will be his last anyway. Hopefully he's at Glasgow now, isn't he?
Yes.
So maybe that'll just this move will be the thing that rekindles it and he gets a wee Indian summer in his career. Because that would be good.
He played last season though, didn't he? Or this season?
Last season. He was there last season.
Last season.
No, I
mostly used from the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on his day, he was, as you said, Allan, rightly went on the Lions tour, his first tour. But he just has never quite been that guy again. It's an odd one. But yeah, to be fair, I actually in my notes, I actually thought that Hiddleston was actually breathing down Ashman's neck for the starting spot. I thought that one off the bench performance and one start performance, I thought Hiddleston's been fantastic, and his darts have seemed better.
The line out that went skew with looked like a jumping problem, not a throwing problem. It looked like a timing problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I thought Williamson looked to be coming back.
Oh, see, I've actually said that Max Williamson not quite taking the step up to international level. I think he's struggling from having looked like he'd be the coming man at having looked like he'd be the coming man at Glasgow and for Scotland the last while back. I think he's very much having difficult second album kind of syndrome. I'd be delighted to be proven wrong, but
no, he hasn't stood up, and I use that phrase advisedly for somebody who's 6'8". He hasn't stood up as much as he should have done, but I felt he was better in this game than he has for a while. And the only other one that I think will come anywhere near, of the forwards anyway, that will come anywhere near troubling our first choice star in 23 is Josh Bayliss. Gregor Brown.
I was about to pull you up on that one because he's already in their first choice 23.
Equally, I thought Gregor Brown had a quiet game by his usual standards.
He might
not
be a number 8.
Yeah, it could be as simple as that. He's not a number 8. I mean, for me, when he stepped up best has been coming off the bench at 5 or 6, in fact, rather than 6, 7.
I mean, if you're talking about stepping up, it would be 5, 6, 7, 8 would be.
But no, I thought Bayliss was superb. He was my player of the match. I know they gave it to Stafford. I don't see why, in the honest truth. I mean, Stafford was fine, but you don't get player of the match when you're fine. I thought Bayliss made a fantastic impact across all facets for us. I thought it a storming game.
Bayliss and Hiddleston were the two starting forwards that got any goal, that got the proper go forward with ball in hand.
Yeah, exactly so. Yeah.
That actually punctured the defensive line and had them going back so we could actually build something from it. And one of the key things about the substitutions was that suddenly you have forwards, the other forwards hitting the ball at pace, and suddenly the Fijian defensive line.
Yeah. It was hugely noticeable to me, not just hitting the ball at pace, but hitting the rucks at pace as well. Our aggression at the ruck got so much bigger, much stronger when the subs came on. And to be honest, that's attitude. Because they've all got the physicality for it, right? But the attitude that the bench forwards brought was clearly far more aggressive than
maybe there's a difficulty with the step up from club to international. If we're being charitable, maybe there's enough of a difference that there was enough players with less experience that would be a decent explanation for it, and would also explain why Bayliss, who's had more experience at international level and has just always looked like an international class player. I think Bayliss has put his hand up to be our number 8 when we can't pick Jack Dempsey through the Six Nations.
Yes, I agree. I mean, for me, the original question was, what was the difference? And for me, it was physicality of the breakdown and of gain line carries, but also leadership. I think our first 15 were lacking in leadership. It was definitely 4, it might have been 5 scoring opportunity mauls in the first half alone. And they kept going at it. I think it was 4 in the first half and 1 in about 42, 43 minutes. And they got turned over every time. And they kept going at it again and again and again. Then the next one, by this time, Schoeman and Xander and who else was
Maggie.
on? Cummings.
Maggie came on for Johnny Gray, and Brown moved into the role.
Well, 53 minutes, they had another one, and they dummied them all, and that's when Schoeman scored.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just needed somebody to go, because I could see it, and I was messaging angrily on our chat site, why are we going to the mall? They've clearly got our number. You know, we can see it. Surely somebody on the pitch can see it, but maybe there wasn't enough of a strong leadership voice on the pitch. I'm sure these guys are smart enough to see it, but maybe there wasn't a strong enough leadership voice to actually go, no, we're not doing that.
But I think, look, rugby, and this isn't just a Scottish thing, rugby is littered with teams that struggle to see the wood for the trees on the pitch. I'm even thinking back look at the England forwards in 1990 in the Grand Slam game. Like, if they'd had a thought and kicked their penalties, they'd have been out of sight, you know. So I think it is hard, and it probably takes experience. Bayliss was vice captain, Stafford captain. There's not a lot of caps between the two of them, and you know, Bayliss was very much taking, as we've discussed, very much taking on the pack leader role and sort of like standard bearer and diving into the middle of things.
Yeah.
It's maybe something for Stafford to think on and reflect on, that one.
Probably our most capped player in the starting pack was Sutz, and he's notoriously quiet on the pitch.
I think probably it was Johnny Gray, but obviously it's
Johnny. But he's also quiet, right?
It's the ghost of Johnny Gray, isn't it? And it's not Johnny Gray in his palm.
I was really glad he got his try in his last ever international appearance.
Oh, Bark. Harsh.
I mean,
getting him retired.
To be fair, we kind of thought he had retired. But
I think the thing is, he's been a fabulous servant to Scottish rugby. He really has, but he is not the model of a second row we need anymore. Yeah. We need mobile, athletic. We need Max Williamson playing at his best. We need Scott Cummins playing at his best. We need Gregor Brown coming off the bench.
Alex Samuel,
yeah. Johnny Gray, I love Johnny Gray. And during a dark period for us, he was one of the best to grace the pitch. But he wasn't even as good as his brother would be in this team, right? Richie Gray would be a better fit for this team than Johnny.
Yeah, fair.
You'd still trust him to do a job, though, at the World Cup against whatever Tier 2 team are playing in that group.
Yeah.
But actually, this weekend, I was like, I can see why we still pick Gilco. I can see why we still pick Grant Gilchrist.
You could argue that Gilco would have done a similar job to Johnny Gray and brought a ton of leadership now. So,
yeah, I think he probably would have started. He probably would have sorted out the problem with the Mauls, either chosen to do something different, like a trick play, or done, just said, right, let's do it tighter. I have one more take.
Go for a tap and go. They're really popular for a reason. If your line out's shaky or your Mauls are being held back, go for a tap and go if you want to keep it in the forwards. If not, go for a scrum and spin it out the backs. Don't just keep banging your head against that particular brick wall. All you get is the imprint of a brick.
Mark, you played front row. Banging your head against a brick wall is what we enjoy. Now, come on.
Literally the best of days.
Yeah. I have one more take, and I'm glad Johnny's not on tonight because this will be heresy for him. George Horn isn't our starting 9.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic player, but he needs to come on when gaps are opening up and legs are tiring. And when defences are set, he runs around into blind alleys. That one where he gets held up trying to crash through to the line himself against like about Fijian forwards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
George, what are you doing, man? It's just, I mean, I know every scrum half's like 7 foot tall in their head, but a wee dose of reality. He's not getting through
He
there.
literally runs straight into the Fijian 7 and 8. Yeah, just, mate, no.
I think our starting nines are Ben White or Jamie Dobie, and George Horn's our bench nine.
I thought we improved when George Horn stepped in at scrum half.
Jamie
No,
Dobie.
Jamie Dobie. Yeah.
I thought we were going to throw down there, Mark.
I'll cut that in the edit. No, that's why I said I agree before you even said it, Alan. I had that in my notes as well. I'm a huge fan of George Horn, but it was all about what it did was prove to me why Tooney's not selecting at the start, irrespective of what so many of us, myself included, have said.
Yep. He is a finisher, and that is a significant part of the game and an important part of the game, but that is his role in this team.
Yeah, exactly so. Yeah.
He comes on and pulls up the tempo against hiring legs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So he's a great player, and I'm not, I love watching him play, but I love watching him run against tired defences more than I love seeing him run against set defences.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally agree.
Oh, Johnny's commented on the post, so.
Has he already? He must be listening live.
No, I don't think he's texted just saying this is how I discovered it was Thursday. So Johnny is not doing anything for the reputation of school teachers in the summer holidays there.
No.
Fair play. They earn it. They earn it. That's grand. Okay. Right, have we covered the game? I think we have, haven't we?
I think so, yeah. At the end of the day, it was a 5-point bonus try win. And although Fiji were 17-0 at the break, they didn't score again.
Yeah.
They didn't score after the break. We held them to 0.
I pointed out that it was a 20. All it would take is 21 unanswered points or 17 unanswered points at some point for my prediction to be right, and we were 5 points off that.
Yes,
5
exactly.
points off that.
Yeah.
The
only other thing that I thought it was worth mentioning, and it's on my Christmas wish list, is please, 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 can we do something about how we play when the other team are a man down? Fiji won that period 7-0. Sorry, I just picked your hands in the rock, mate.
Oh no, there are plenty. Actually, I think Fiji should have been down a man for 30 minutes. I think their 7 should have been sent off.
That is on my hands in the rock.
Oh, well, you see, you've done it back to you.
We can discuss it then.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Right, mine gets discussed now, but yours we leave. No, that's fine. No, absolutely. We need to take better advantage of being a man down, or when the other opposition's a man down, and under 20s showed the way with that. And
I don't even think it's the first or second time. We seem to, our national team are guilty of profligacy, and I do wonder in those situations if we don't have a change to the game plan. We simply go, this is how we play, which is great, but surely there's a way of going, they're down a back rower, let's try X.
I think it might be different. I think it might be more fundamental. I think we get in our own heads and think they're man down, we need to score, and we snatch at it, we throw too many ambitious passes, and we get in their own heads and sort of cramp up. Actually, I think we probably need to...
Pressure to perform, we all know how bad that gets, right?
I can neither confirm nor deny that, Mark. All I would say is entering your 50s is brutal. Grand. Okay. So I think the next thing is I keep wanting to go to the Autumn Nations Championship, but the Nations Championship, what do we think of it? What are the positives and negatives? I think the negatives are fairly clear. Sorry,
travel.
Leslie. Yeah.
But if you don't travel, then I think I can't remember what podcast it was. That's just essentially World Cup, isn't it? It's all played in one place.
Yeah.
So, and you should afford the Southern Hemisphere teams the chance to play at home. So it sucks, but it is what it is. I don't like it either, but there's no point in having another World Cup, effectively.
No. And Mark, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think the travel is not insignificant. I think in this day and age of us all trying to sit in here in our wee offices in, just to be quite clear, Scotland, Bylan, and we've got teams using thousands of air miles, I think is a bad thing globally. In terms of tiring the players, bear in mind that it wasn't so very many weeks ago that South African teams were complaining about having to travel to Europe to play, well, UK to play in the Celtic League, to play against us, to play against Wales, to play against URC, and yet these very same people on the socials were telling the Scotland team to stop bleating about it when the Scotland team had travelled from Scotland to Argentina, played a game, flew out the following day to go to the High Veld and play another game a week later at altitude. I don't like that setup in terms of both the travel and, for me, the other thing we're missing is player welfare. I don't think our players are getting enough of a rest. Just to be quite clear, pre-season always used to start for us in August, right? That's next week. That can't be good for pros. They were talking about you come out of a game at pro level and you're exhibiting similar symptoms to having been hit 2 or 3 times by a Mini traveling at 20 miles per hour. They need a rest, and I don't like it from a player welfare perspective.
I suppose the games are the same as the summer tours would have been, Mark. I think the air miles are the things that's different. Okay, I'm going to come up with the positives then. I don't disagree with either of the things you've said, with either of your points. And one more negative and then the positives. So the other negative is it's a closed shop, and the teams that we were playing now aren't getting to play any teams. I think the way around that, though, is pretty simple. You're promotion and relegation from it. So you're up and down. No one's going to be promoted or relegated from the Six Nations because the Six Nations teams, the stakeholders are the teams. So that's not good to the 6 teams. But you could have promotion and relegation from this, and that would certainly give Wales and Italy something to play for at the end.
I think the challenge with that is that the depth below the first, was it 10 teams? Is it 10 teams or 12 teams in the Nations Championship? 12. The depth below that is quite big. So you're still not going to have more than maybe one or two, because what will happen, let's be quite honest, is that Italy might drop out of the Nations Championship, but next time they'll be back in, and whoever comes up will be down.
But I suppose it's that sort of exposure and things. Is that the time that makes it, or do you have a playoff match then between the top of the second tier and the bottom of the first tier? Because then at least they've beaten the, so they can. It makes it slightly more of a closed shop or a less open shop, but it means that they're not just going to come up and get 100 points put on them every game, because that benefits no one.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So promotion and relegation is meant to be coming in, but not until 2035 or 30 or something like that.
Right. Okay.
So because it's only this tournament's only every 2 years, so.
And the other thing in terms of the tournament structure, we're playing New Zealand, Australia, and Japan. Having come off the back of Argentina, South Africa, and Fiji away at Murrayfield. Yeah. When Australia and New Zealand play us, they'll have that massive travel from Twickenham to deal with. It's
that
not
big hour flight.
Yeah, that big hour-long flight. Whereas our guys did an entire day's travel to South Africa. That's not a level playing field with that structure.
No, and it's not. It's not, and I don't.
Don't get me wrong, all the Northern Hemisphere teams face that disadvantage.
Yeah,
right.
That's all right. The exception of South Africa, they all probably need that wee leg up. So let's see. But look, with 3 weekends, with 3 Saturdays that were a veritable orgy of rugby, that was bloody brilliant. I have to say, I really enjoyed that. It's all free to air, and there's none of this. Oh, the England games on Sky, the Scotland games on a YouTube channel, because that's all we can watch it on. Everything on. Everything was good, I have to say, apart from the fact it was an ITV, but more of that later. So we're stuck with it anyway, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
We're stuck with it anyway, so let's see how it goes. Leslie, how does Scotland do in this?
Sitting second in the Northern Hemisphere League, Mark. I don't see what the issue is here.
Yeah.
No, I'd be a bit cheeky there, but we're sitting above England, Ireland, Wales. We're probably never going to beat South Africa. So
we're only that Jesse Creel point, try and 30 points behind France. We're so genuinely we're 1 point behind France. And if Creel hadn't scored that try, we wouldn't be 30 points. We'd be what's 30 minus 7, 23. Thank you. It is very warm up here.
Right? I should not be the one giving the maths answers.
All I can say is everything's got very swampy up here, Mark. I'm just
I think they've done just as good as we would have hoped. Bonus points against Fiji, beat Argentina quite comfortably, played really well against South Africa. I'm not sure we could have hoped for more. I mean, yes, okay, in a nice ideal world, we would have beaten South Africa, but no one's beating them at the moment, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I have no complaints.
If I was giving us a grade, I would probably be saying B+. I think our attack was probably an A, and I think our defence was probably a B. But fundamentally, I think the three of us said before the tournament started that what we were hoping for was 2 wins and a good performance in South Africa, and that would be a good tournament for us. And we got that. And irrespective of a shaky start against Fiji, it was a shaky start with our second team. Let's be perfectly honest. It wasn't even a first and a half team. That was our second team.
That was a Scotland Day back in the day.
Absolutely. The only people that troubled the starting 15 that were involved previously were bench players, right? So I think that was B plus was how I would put it. I think if it solidified our defence a little bit, then maybe an A. But there's time for that, as we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
I think we're at the stage now where we're never going to see evolution or revolution. It's small incremental gains, but I think we are inching forward.
Yes.
Whether it's enough, I don't know, but we are inching forward.
Yeah.
I think we just had the spammer messages.
Yeah, it must be spam. Yeah, don't mention the website.
That's no. I realise I'm not the most internet literate, not like our IT department here, but even I know that. So yeah, no, that's all good. That's all good. Okay, well, I think it just leads us to this kind of stage of the evening, and my apologies, Mark. Welcome to Hands on the Ruck, our any other business section of the pod. And we're just seeing who has Le Mans on la Rave, so to speak. Leslie, what has been grinding your gears this week?
I think it is our Argentinian friends and their reaction at the end of their game and their reaction to Angus Gardner specifically and giving him a shove, throwing bottles at him. Very obviously, this is not.
We should be clear that was fans, not the players. The players shoved them. The fans threw bottles.
Yes. But both very poor, and I'm glad to see that steps have been taken, at least for the player, anyway, to deal with that, because that ain't on.
Yes,
we can't have players shoving referees. We've seen it before. I don't know if you guys maybe remember. It was a European game, I think, in France. I think Holly Davidson was the ref, along with Sam Grove-White, and I can't remember who the other assistant ref was. And they were in for a similar situation where I think it was a coach, one of the coaches from the team.
That's right. Got
a bit aggressive with Holly and Sam, and I think they eventually did get quite a hefty ban, things like that. So we cannot allow that to continue. That is horrific. We need
any physical contact. Any physical contact with the referee has always been utterly sacrosanct, for very good reason. Some of these guys on the pitch are absolute monsters, even the smaller ones, Yeah. And you cannot allow the kind of stuff, and I'm not comparing rugby and football, I'm simply saying you cannot allow the stuff we see with football going on with rugby. It's just, you can't allow that with the physical differences between normal human beings and professional rugby players. And I had that on my list. I have to say, I think the political side and Argentina Rugby Union needs to have a look at their fans, doing the wee chants and stuff about the Malvinas before the game. We need to not have rugby going down that political standpoint. The only time, to my knowledge, that rugby has been involved in that kind of thing before was during the apartheid era, and that wasn't rugby per se, that was sport in general. And thankfully that's long behind us. Argentina Union needs to do something with that, and pronto, because that atmosphere was febrile before a ball was kicked.
Yeah, and I think Contepomi then stropping out of a press conference talking about respect because the England team were playing Taylor Swift loudly. Playing
music and singing in the dressing room like every other winning team always does.
And if my team had been beaten, I wouldn't let the other team know they got under my skin by singing too loudly and celebrating too much. But he's talking about respect after his players and their fans have done that. Given what was coming out of his mouth, he was closer in terms of respect to urethra rather than Aretha. That's all I'm saying. I can't see what was actually coming out of his mouth, given that we're not on Patreon, but I'm sure you can work out what comes out of a urethra. But that's what he was talking about.
That's not high-end medical, by the way.
No, that's it. Yeah. I figured sometimes I could make a joke like that goes over heads. This one's pitched lower. Let's move on. Mark, anything ripping your knitting?
Well, I had the Argentina stuff very much. Totally agree with all of that. And kind of adjacent to that, I genuinely think the whole TMO thing needs a revamp. It's become a bit of a mess. The example I was going to use was around Scotland playing. But clearly the whole Argentina thing is front and centre to that as well, because I got to be honest, I don't think Angus Gardner thought that wasn't a try. I think he was going to award it. And to be perfectly honest, he'd have awarded it, they'd have missed the kick and everybody would have been all right. They'd still have been a little bit sad, but there wouldn't have been World War III afterwards about it. However, I think the TMO in that instance overreached.
Yeah.
I think he overstepped, and I don't think the TMO's boundaries are clear. The example about the Scotland one is when, quite clearly, George Horne was headbutted on the 25th minute, right? The ref has carded the player for playing the 9. And the TMO has come in after the player's been carded, so the player's gone off for his 10 minutes. The TMO has come in and said, you need to have a look at head contact, which they do. And the TMO says, the ref says to the TMO, do you think that was okay? Was that just do you think it was just a yellow card? And the TMO says, yeah, I think it was just a yellow card. So they just left it. I'm sorry, if that happens before the ref gives the card for playing the 9, that's off field with a review and quite possibly could have been a red.
So I would disagree. So that's interesting. I disagree with that one because I think he was just tipping forward. I think he was overbalancing. It was one of these ones that looked worse, and I think Angus Gardner did say, I don't think that's more than a yellow. I don't think that's more than a penalty. And the yellow wasn't for that. The yellow was for I don't know why I had to give a yellow there, but the yellow was for playing the 9 when they were on a warning.
It was head-on-head contact to the 9 in a ruck situation. There is no way it doesn't get a closer look. I agree with you from the one angle shown on TV, but based on what the TMO says, because of the various levels of timing. I'm not saying the TMO was wrong. I'm not saying it should have been a yellow. I'm not saying it should have been a red. What I'm saying is the whole TMO setup needs a revamp.
He probably should have done the print. And to be fair, I agree with you. It should have been a yellow when doing the Adamant Prince Charming video.
Yeah.
Again, no one under 40 is going to get that one.
That's one for the youngster.
One for the kids.
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
My mum and dad might have known.
Oh, just in my heart, Leslie, in my heart. Resident doctors at work have now just given up any pretense of not comparing. They go, "Oh, my dad does that too," and I'm like, just give up any pretense of that I might not be their parents' age. And I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of them weren't born when I qualified, but yeah, it's a knife in the heart. But yeah,
But no, so for me, it's not. I'm not saying specifically that decision was wrong. It might have ended up being exactly that decision. But if it happens in mid-play, it's a card, and the TMO doesn't get to go. Yeah, I think it's fine.
yeah, no, I'll give you
This
that.
one, the whole TMO thing, just for me, needs some clarification.
I'll give you that. I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. But that wasn't why I thought Fiji should have had a red. That's interesting.
All right, interesting. Right.
Because there is a penalty at some point in the second half where he reaches forward and knocks the ball out of the hand of the 9. We get the penalty. If he had not been on the yellow card, that would have been a second yellow. Or if he had not been on a yellow card, that would be yellow every day of the week and twice on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because he was already in the yellow, he got a be very, very careful finger wag. And look, I'm actually quite happy that he didn't get it, because I think that would have been a very big asterisk amongst us, let alone anyone that isn't fond of Scotland, as to Scotland's comeback. Oh, they needed a red card to beat Fiji. But I think he probably should have gone off. But home team gets the advantage, don't they? With the crowd being for them.
It's interesting as well that kind of talks to all of these points about how difficult refereeing is, because it is about, I mean, we've said before, rugby is such a complex sport, and part of the reason that fans are baying on socials, but he's missed this, he's missed that, is because you can actually call something at every single breakdown.
Yeah, of course you can.
There is a law broken at every single breakdown. So the referee is balancing the spirit of the law with the letter of the law all the time in how they're refereeing the game. And I think they're doing that. I think the time when there is no place for that is when there's foul play.
Yeah.
But beyond that, and this is why, going back to the Angus Gardner moment in the England game, I think the TMO overstepped it.
Yeah, I'd give you that.
The TMO should simply tell the ref the facts, and the ref makes a decision. Or says to him, I mean, at one point, Angus Gardner was actually saying, well, you're the one with the HD screen. He was hugely sceptical. He was putting up protective barriers for himself then, because he didn't agree with the guy.
Yeah.
And the ref should be in a very strong position of being able to say, no, this is what I'm seeing. And I have to say, our friend Jaco Johan has a huge part to play in this, in the refs having to protect themselves.
I'm guessing the word friend has bunny ears round it on either side, Mark.
Yeah, you got to believe that.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think I'm right in saying that was Nick Berry.
Yeah.
And he's reffing for the first time South Africa against New Zealand in their first tour game.
Pardon, that's not confirmed.
Oh.
That has somebody gone, this would be my referees for these games. And someone has run with that and gone, these are the refs, which is not quite the same thing.
I'm gutted.
So I wouldn't get too excited just yet until it's been confirmed, but it looked like that was somebody just, these are my referees that I would pick.
Oh, what a shame. I was so looking forward to that. That just adds a whole other dimension to that game.
Yeah, that would be quite fun. That would be quite fun. My hands on the rock this week is ITV and substitutions. Who's on? Who's on for who? Who's on for who? That was our group chat, and that was the chat up in Tarscovig Village Hall as we're watching it on the big screen, trying to work out who the hell was on the pitch. There has been an excuse when the commentators haven't been at the ground. They will have been at bloody Murrayfield because it's Edinburgh. there is ITV are shocking. Nearly said something else. They are shocking at getting that onto getting the substitutions, and it is not good enough. We need to know what players on for whom.
Yeah, totally agree. When they brought on the first players from the bench, I think it was 47 minutes. It was 1, 3, 5, and 9. And the only reason I know that is because the ref said it.
Mm-hmm.
I overheard on the ref mic him saying to the players, there was no graphic who they'd come on for. Hence, I'm like, George Horn's still on the pitch, but they took him off.
Yeah,
but he got that wrong because they were bringing on Dobie, but they were sending off. I think it was Darcy for injury or something like that. I don't know.
No. Actually, Darcy. Dobie did come on for Horn, but then
Right.
Dobie scored his first try. He got a head injury, needed an HIA, and George Horn came back on.
Right.
The only reason I know that is Flash Score, the app that I use, they have put all the substitutions on and the sort of HIA substitution that took. But yeah, I thought it was a minute whiskey.
That's having watched the game live and watched the majority on Watchback as well, and I still am not clear on who came on for who. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no,
it's not good enough. ITV, you need to fix that. That's commentating 101. You should know who's on the pitch and tell us who's on the pitch.
Yes.
We gave you the benefit of the doubt because we thought your commentators weren't in the stadium, because that's always a tricky situation. But your commentators were in the stadium, so this is Bobbins, so fix it.
Yes. Well said.
And breathe out. Any more on the hands in the ruck?
No, that's good for me, thanks.
Grand. Okay, so 50-22. What has made you smile this week? Leslie.
Go and tell these old men on the internet.
I don't think that's made Leslie smile traditionally.
Nothing this week, I'll be honest. It's end of the season, and I'm just glad that we made it.
Yeah, fair.
Here.
I haven't nothing particularly, to be honest. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Debbie Downer this week, but oof.
Well, so listen, it is very warm, and it's been a long old season.
We're all tired.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple, and one of them is very Edinburgh focused. Well, they're both about Edinburgh players, but one very Edinburgh focused. So you'll probably enjoy this. I wasn't sure who it was, and I had to play it back. Was in our first maul, which was not an attacking maul. I think it was. It was an attacking maul, but it wasn't a scoring chance. It was on the halfway or something. The maul set up, and somebody got his shorts almost pulled down to reveal he was wearing Edinburgh undershorts. I've got to say, Freddie Douglas, fair play to you, did commitment to the cause. Good lad. That just made me laugh.
Does that mean he's dropping his skiddies on a picture of Sean Everett?
No, it was the orange Lego house stuff.
Yeah. My comment did not make Leslie smile.
That is not the image we needed at 8:30 on a Thursday night, Mark.
It's not the image we needed. It's the image. It's the image you deserve.
and the other one was after his first hit, and again it was only 5 or 6 minutes, I think. Darcy Graham took the ball, did a wee jink, and got hit big time, double teamed by 2 Fijians. And the fact that he was absolutely laughing at the bottom of the ensuing ruck, you could see in his face like, it's going to be one of those days, is it? It was just, his expression was fabulous. Like, yeah, I'm going to be feeling that tomorrow, And I just thought the whole attitude, it was Darcy all over, He's getting absolutely leveled and his immediate reaction was, "Oh, here we go again." I just thought the humour in the situation really appealed to me.
There's quite a lot of skill, though, in two Fijians tackling Darcy and one of them not being high.
To be fair, low. Yeah.
But yeah, my 50-22 is that Jamie Doby kicked the ball out with the scoreline essentially balanced exactly between Mark and Leslie and my score predictions.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is proof that Jamie Doby listens to the podcast, and he's like, do you know what? I can't decide. None of you could be right, because genuinely, if they'd gone to play for another try, Fiji might have gone up the field and scored, and then it was declared in either direction. So Doby was like, can't pick. We're right between the middle. We'll just call it here.
Yeah. No, I was. I think I said to you guys in the chat right at the end of the game, I was kind of hoping that Fiji would score a almost unkickable try right in the corner to give themselves another 5 points, which would have made my prediction only a point off.
If we'd scored an unconverted try, mine would have been perfect. And I was like, so had I not had other hands in the ruck, that would have been my hands in the ruck. So no guts, no glory. But actually, I think just having it, such a parent thing to do. Do you know what? Neither of you are winning. That's it. Right down the middle.
That's right.
Yeah. Right down the middle.
Awesome.
So, folks, we've said a few times it's been a long old season. Our plan is to take a break now. We'll be back to preview the URC season. So we're back before the week before the URC season starts, and we'll preview that then. And thank you for sticking around with us for all this time. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this for you, and we'll see you next season. Thanks all.
Thanks, folks. Thanks for listening.